fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to Wheel of Horror Fresh Film Fridays, a new little segment that we're going to start doing every other Friday where we're going to choose 3 new films, all on streaming sites, and we are going to do 10-minute little recap reviews. They don't necessarily have to be horror or sci-fi or action or anything. They can just be any genre. So we're going to start doing that every other Friday, and we're actually going to have a new host for this one. So I will be hosting this along with one of our guests from some other episodes, Justin Welikson, so he will be the co-host for this segment. But don't worry, every Monday we will still be doing horror films. That will not be changing. We'll still be doing some sci-fi, Christmas, all these bonus episodes. There's lots still coming, but this is what we're going to start doing every other Friday.
What's going on?
Oh, Eric, you're here.
Wait, there's a new wheel and I'm not involved?
Eric, you're fired.
Well, Eric, you have a lot going on right now. You just got a new house. You know, you're busy. But we're still doing the Monday episodes.
I'm a busy bee. Buzz.
But dude, literally, anytime you want to get on here, you know, like, you're obviously more than welcome. We want you here.
Which movies did you do so far?
Justin, would you like to explain the movies we've selected?
Yes, we have Cosmic Sin, which is on Netflix, Space Jam 2 on HBO, and Fear Street Part 1, which is also on Netflix.
Ooh, I definitely want to see Fear Street, but I did not watch. You guys watched them all already, right?
Just the first one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the first Fear Street. So basically what Justin and I are going to do is every other Friday, we're going to watch these movies. We'll give like 10-minute recaps of them and give them a score. So we have a new scoring system, which Justin, I don't know if you want to tell everybody about.
Yeah, so Eric and I are obviously huge Keanu Reeves fans. So I thought instead of just doing, like 3 out of 5 stars, we could do it out of 5 Keanus. I mean, 1 Keanu equals 1 star, but we're having some fun.
What's a movie that would have 5 Keanus, like off the top of your head?
I mean, John Wick.
Okay, that's a 5 Keanu for sure.
Yeah. We're also going to use this as an opportunity just to kind of like talk about the podcast, where we're going from here, just basically the future. But basically, we want to introduce Justin as our new, I guess, head of marketing, basically, right, Justin? That's kind of what you're doing?
I prefer the title Chief Marketing Officer, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're kind of be taking over here?
Yeah, so essentially just trying to ramp up all the social medias, a little bit of work on the website, and just try and bring in as many new listeners as possible to just expand the client base.
Yeah, and I think that this is a cool way for us to branch out to more than just horror, do some new films, because I know Eric and I, we love old horror movies, but not everybody does. So this is a way to kind of dive into some of the new stuff. Yeah, Eric, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I only watch movies that are like old. I don't watch anything fresh. So this is not my wheel. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, hashtag not my wheel. You guys got it. I'm very excited to listen in. No, I'm very excited to listen to these and like outside.
Yeah, hopefully we'll save you some time so you don't have to watch some of the ones that we did.
Yeah, I don't really need to watch Space Jam: A New Legacy, but that's just I'm glad I didn't hit that on the wheel.
Yeah.
The wheel's gonna get me though. The wheel's gonna get me hard this October. So I don't need it.
We'll be talking more as these episodes come out about like, the Halloween wheel that's coming up. We have some merchandise that's about to start launching really soon. Some awesome stickers and water bottles, t-shirts, that kind of stuff. So a lot of cool stuff happening. But yeah, we'll use this as an opportunity just to kind of fill people in on what's going on besides just movies.
Cool. And hopefully I could join in on a couple.
Dude, literally anytime. Eric, this is your show too. Anytime. You know that. Just if you have time.
Yeah, I'll see if we can squeeze you in. No, I'm kidding, of course, man.
All right, well, I got to go drink a White Claw right now, so I'll talk to you guys later. I'm kidding. All right, you guys have fun. Be good to the wheel. Justin,
right.
I trust you to be good to the wheel.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Something like that. Spider-Man or something.
Right.
All right, later, guys. Have fun.
See you.
See you, Eric. All right, now that asshole's gone.
I'm not going yet. It's not letting me leave. Why won't it let me leave? I want to leave.
Eric, get out of here.
Yeah, I'm out. See you guys. Have fun.
All right, so I thought it would be fun if we just jump right into Cosmic Sin. What do you think?
Yeah, that was also first on my list.
Oh, perfect. Even better. So Cosmic Sin. This movie came out on March 12th, 2021 in Taiwan, and then I guess it got re-released here on Netflix recently, and this film was directed by Edward Drake. Justin, what were your first thoughts on Cosmic Sin?
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had pretty bad experiences with Netflix original movies. They're usually a letdown, but I saw Bruce Willis in this. I saw Frank Grillo. I think I
Mhm.
pronounced that right. And he's usually in pretty cool movies. So I figured, like, how bad could it possibly be?
Yeah, and what do you think now you've seen it?
Well, I mean, I looked it up on IMDb and it got a 3 out of 100, which I was like, no, that has to be an error of some sort. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. Well, I'll leave my overall like rating till the end of it,
Right,
but
right.
just to start, the very first thing I noticed was there was a ton of reading in the beginning. Like, you know
Yeah.
how I was like, what is this, like a book? Like, and
Yeah.
then I was getting like kind of motion sickness because the camera was going all over the place. And I don't know if that was just me, but my stomach started to hurt a little bit.
Really? Wait, from that first scene where they're all crashing on the planet or whatever?
Yeah, dude, it felt like someone was just running with a camera and it was just
Yeah.
going all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, because that they were kind of going for that Quentin Tarantino thing. It's like, let's show him a random scene first that's coming back later in the movie, like sort of thing. And you're like, okay, I guess. But yeah, there's so much reading, and the other thing about it was like in Blade Runner or Legend or a lot of movies that have like exposition in the beginning, so you like have an idea of what's going on. It's usually just like one paragraph or like a scrolling paragraph or something like that. This was like 4 words, then like another screen with like 5 words, then like another screen with like 2 sentences, and they're filling in so like 500 years worth of history that we're supposed to care about. You're like, okay,
It was a
and
lot. Yeah.
so from what I gather from this movie, Bruce Willis, his name, what's his name? John, like it's just like John Ford. It's like the most basic name. What is it? James Ford, yeah.
Yeah,
And
James.
so what is he? Like some like old like war hero that like set off a like a quantum bomb or something?
Basically, what I got from it was he used to be like a general of Earth's forces, and he like made the executive decision to drop this thing called the Q bomb, which is like, I guess, like our A bomb, and it
Yeah.
like wiped out 70 million of another species, and then they like kicked him out. But then aliens were attacking it, and they were like, "There's only one hope to save the planet. Like, we got to get James back." So
Yeah. It's very like classic, like, let's get that old guy out of retirement kind of thing.
yeah,
And I don't understand why he wouldn't be in jail if he killed all those people. I guess he's like a not a decorated war hero, but like everybody fucking hates him, but everybody knows who he is, kind of, but the young people don't. I don't know. But
yeah.
he's so then he comes back because what they meet aliens. This is the first contact with aliens. That's it.
Yeah, they have these like mining outposts throughout space, and I guess this is the first contact they had. And I kind of thought it was funny because like these two humans got infected, and then they somehow like Star Trek warped back to Earth, and there were literally only like 6 Earth Space Force people guarding that little outpost. Like there wasn't like a huge base. There was like 12 people at that base in total,
Right.
and they called the general, which is now Frank Grillo, and he did that very stereotypical dead. He whipped up like the e-brake on the highway, completely like ignoring the fact that there could be another car behind him. And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh my god, first contact." He's like, "We need Ford." I'm like, "Yeah, you don't even know what the situation is yet." So,
Oh. Yeah, it's like every stupid action movie and sci-fi cliche just kind of thrown into one, but there's no justification for the plot.
and I thought one of the first funniest parts was so when the aliens were they broke out of that room and they literally came up like snapped that dude's neck, and then the other alien was choking the girl against the wall about to kill her,
Yeah.
and nobody did anything. I expected them to shoot them. I expected them to try and like muscle the alien off. They were like, "Hey, stop that."
Well, because I think what were they trying to keep them for like research or something, right? They were like, we
Well,
can't.
also because they were other humans and they were like, we don't want to hurt the host, which essentially is a human. But
Right.
I mean, at that point, they're like, they're dead. So,
Yeah. Yeah. They're basically like zombies that can talk, but then I don't know, man. So then they force in that little plot where like that older woman scientist is like Bruce Willis's like ex-wife or whatever, and then she
mhm.
gets possessed by like the head
Yeah.
parasite zombie, and they're all like, what are they all like a hive mind or whatever? So they all think alike. So I
Yeah.
think that's like a Star Trek bad guy. So they basically just cherry picked everything, including like the armor from Halo. Like all those guys were wearing like Master Chief armor.
It was pretty cool armor, but in
Yeah,
terms of like protecting yourself, it had like it maybe covered 10% of the body, so it looked kind of dumb.
yeah.
But I thought it was funny. I had some like Starship Troopers flashbacks when they met the older general, and he was like, "We're all gonna die." He's like, "They're taking over our bodies," and it reminded me of the general they found in Starship Troopers on the Bug Planet, and he was like, "They're sucking out our brains."
Yeah, I mean, now that you're, dude, if you're gonna see him fucking movie, just watch Starship Troopers. It's still leagues ahead of this.
What
I don't
did
know.
you think about their precautions to protect Earth?
What do you mean? Like, wait, what do you mean?
I mean, they literally all of Earth sent 6 people
Oh,
to this outpost to fight the alien. Like, not an army of 100, 6 people.
no, yeah. And yeah, it's like a 66-year-old retired guy. You like some like braided haired girl. They just like, well, she was already there.
Yeah, they were like colonists on the planet because she was like, this morning there were 300 of us. Now there's 20. And I was like, oh man,
Right.
that sucks.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. Yeah. So horrible idea. They send like a small platoon in to go do this, but I don't know. I just feel like nothing made sense. It was just so like disjointed and stuff. So like, who's the lead person? Like who's the lead in this movie? It's not Bruce Willis. I don't feel like.
It's like a mix between Bruce and Frank Carrillo because technically Frank's in charge, but like they're looking to Bruce to help. During the movie, I went to IMDb because I like to just read what other people write, and I
Oh
really needed like a break from watching it for a second.
yeah.
And these 4 reviews just stood out to me, and I'll just read the title because they're so funny. And this one said, "Mystery of this film is why was it made?" I was like, it's a
Yeah.
pretty good point.
Yep.
One said, "Bruce, what are you doing?" Which is also a good point. And then this other guy said, "Bruce, what have you done?" As if it's like ruined his career. And then the
Yeah.
funniest, the funniest one, which I had to like withhold from telling you for the past week because it was just I wanted you to hear it firsthand, was 1 star. They should have changed the name to Cosmic Shit.
I mean, yeah. It's fucking terrible. The best review I read of it was, I think it was by Roger Ebert. It was like, to say Bruce Willis was phoning in his performance is offensive to the technology of phones. And I was
Yeah, well,
like,
I wanted to ask you because you do your voice acting and you've been on in some movies. Why do huge A-list actors like Bruce Willis, who he's been in Armageddon, he's been in I'm
Die
blank.
Hard,
Yeah,
Fifth
Die Hard.
Element.
We're talking like some of the most memorable movies like in our lifetime. Like, how does he go from that to this?
I mean, he is kind of at the tail end of his career. I mean, he was in the Expendables, like he's doing kind of like cameo parts, but I don't know, but I've heard that he's actually pretty hard to work with. I think he like is not. I think what Kevin Smith said in that Cop Out movie, he's like, this is the hardest actor I've ever dealt with. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how much they paid him. I'm assuming most of the budget went to him and the special effects because there's really not that many other like big actors in. I guess Frank Grillo, but like Bruce Willis clearly is the top billed actor in this.
But do you think this was profitable?
I don't know. I don't really understand how this got made because it was like it's a Saban film, which is the company that makes Power Rangers. So it's like an Asian company, I think. This movie got released in Thailand, and then maybe it did really well over there. So I'm totally speculating here, but I'm wondering maybe they made this movie for like an Asian audience or for a Taiwanese audience or something like that, and then it did really well. They're like, this actually might do okay in America. Netflix bought the distribution rights to it, put it on their streaming platform, and now it's like number 10 or whatever in the top 10 being streamed right now. So I think it was probably profitable for them.
Yeah, maybe the film in Taiwan was actually really good, and then Netflix was like, we'll just slap together something, and it came out just horrid.
I don't know. I mean, there's not really much about this movie on like Wikipedia or anything. So like, that's the difference between this and like the regular Real Horror is like there's not much to know about these movies. They're brand new. So it's like, as time comes out, I'm assuming they're probably going to make a sequel because
I hope not.
people are talking about this movie though. That's the thing. Like it's bad. It's not like a fluke movie that people are like, yo, you have to go see, like Drive or whatever. Remember when that movie came out? People were like, dude, this movie's like really cool. And it like, no one expected it to be like, it's fucking sick. This is like that, but like not good.
Did you have anything else before we go to our Keanu rating?
I mean, I just want to say like the good things about this movie. I think the CGI was like decent for what this was. Like I was
Mhm.
expecting it to be way shittier. The acting was really bad. The plot makes almost no sense. But if you just want to watch like a okay CGI movie that's very short, then maybe give it a shot. But there's so many better movies that are like this you could watch. Aliens, Starship Troopers, just to name two. Like,
Literally anything.
pretty much, yeah. But for my Keanu review rating, I'm gonna go with half a Keanu. This
Okay,
is
half a
very bad.
Keanu.
Yeah.
I would also give it half a Keanu, and just in case anyone forgot, that is equivalent to half a star.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I hope I never have to see this again. All right, moving along to Space Jam: A New Legacy, directed by Malcolm D. Lee. And this was released on HBO Max on July 12th. Brand new.
hmm
Right, yeah, what'd you think right out of the gate?
uh, Comparing it obviously to the first one, and when the first one came out, what was that, like 1997 or something?
6, I think, yeah, but yeah.
Okay, so like yeah, when I saw that when we were like 6 years old, like it was a pretty cool movie,
Yeah.
and I was comparing that to it, and maybe it was unfair because I was comparing, and obviously I'm a lot older now. I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I thought Michael Jordan overall did much better than LeBron, but if you put all of those little negatives aside, the overall plot was not as good. Like the first one was cool because it actually made like kind of sense. Like aliens came over, they were like, we're going to take over your planet. If you can win at basketball, then we'll go away.
Right.
This one was like this software was sucking people in through their iPhones into a digital universe.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So ridiculous. I mean, it's basically like Warner Brothers, the company, has like this algorithm that becomes sentient and then is like, I'm gonna start sucking people in. So it's like it's almost like a cyber terrorist attack that's real. It's like what is it, like 3 million? All of LeBron James followers get sucked into this fake computer world, basically.
Yeah, I think like anyone who tuned in to watch it somehow got sucked in.
That's millions and millions and millions and millions of people that are getting, yeah, like taken. It's almost like the Leftovers TV show, but they all get sucked into to watch basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dude, I mean, it's not horrible. It's not unwatchable. But if you're like our age exactly, you're going into this expecting like, I bet this will be just as good as the first one, or it's not. It's not even close.
No, I think if you're like under 10, it would be decent. Like it'd be cool. There's LeBron James. I guess the concept seems cool that you can get, but like us being older, the concept of getting sucked in through your phone just it doesn't make any sense.
No, that's stupid. A couple other things I just want to mention about this movie too. I'm confused like who this is for. Because if you see like the idea is kind of cool. It's like, all right, let's take all of our Warner Brothers properties and just put LeBron James and the Looney Tunes and send them through it or whatever. Like I'm like, that's kind of cool. But the thing is, most of these references are either R-rated or like 20 plus years old. So I was like, if this movie is for kids, like why are there Matrix references and Austin Powers and Game of Thrones and Mad Max? I was like, kids like may know what this is, but they're not gonna like appreciate this like, we would.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to get like a healthy mix of all the movies they've ever created. But that's true if you're like 10 years old now, odds are you haven't seen The Matrix. So that scene would have made sense.
Well, like, I don't even know if they've even heard of The Matrix. Like, imagine like, we were 10 when The Matrix came out. Imagine a 10-year-old now, even probably knowing what that is. But Game of Thrones, they know what Game of Thrones is. They haven't seen it. So that was a little strange. I was like, who the hell is this for? The acting. The acting. LeBron James cannot act to save his goddamn life. And he's playing himself. So it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, it was a bit cheesy. They kind of had him as like the stereotypical like sports dad who only wanted his kids to follow in his footsteps, and then he like learned a lesson at the end that like whatever makes his son happy. Like I get it. I get it.
Dude, he was a prick in the beginning. When he comes out and his son's like, he's like, hey, I'm like really interested in like video games. He's talking to his brother about it. He comes, he's like, what are you doing? How'd you miss that? Like sort of thing. And I'm like, yo, calm down, LeBron. Like, why does your kid have to? Are you gonna make your daughter like that too? Like, does everything that comes from you have to be a basketball player?
I did like some of the subtle things they did, like when LeBron fell into the digital universe, he made like the Nike swoosh in the ground.
Yeah.
He let out his little Kevin Hart joke.
Yeah.
And I actually liked when the granny did the Matrix scene because I'm a huge Matrix fan. And then obviously the first one's better. I thought it was kind of weird how at the end when all the fans got sucked in, like no one was overly concerned. Like everyone was like, "All right, I guess we'll watch the game." Like no one's freaking out that they got sucked in through a phone,
Yeah,
that they're in like a digital universe.
I know. And they're like cheering too. It's like, hey guys, you're all gonna get stuck here forever if you lose. And everyone's like, yeah, or like, oh, like it's like, guys, you should be rioting right now. Like, what's going on? Like figuring out a way to get the fuck out of there. I mean, you're standing next to King Kong and like the guys from Clockwork Orange, like what is happening here? There were a couple lines that made me laugh. I think Don Cheadle actually did a good job. Like considering how stupid like his character is, like I actually thought he did all right. The line that really did make me laugh is when he's like, so I hear you hate video games. And he's like, create. And he's like, creates video games. Like, I thought I talked to you about enunciating. Like he just like snapped at the thing. I was like, all right.
Actually, the funniest line for me was the announcers, and I forgot what one of the announcers' names is. He's a comedian though.
Yeah, Lil Ray.
Okay, yeah. When he said, he's like, guys, like, there's a chance they have LeBron, and then when they had those like different kind of streaks, he was like, oh, we're doomed.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. The score system, where you're like, okay, I get it. Like, it's supposed to be this kid's video game, but like, it was like 1,000 points for doing some stuff, 200 points for doing some stuff.
It reminded me of if you've ever played like NBA Street on Xbox or something, where like you would shoot it off the roof and it would land, and you would get extra points or something like that.
Yeah, like style points. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I thought the Michael B. Jordan joke was kind of funny.
That was one of the funnier things when they were like, "Oh, we got Michael Jordan," and they're like, "He's like, I'm Michael B. Jordan."
Yeah. And I kind of like that. I like the intro and even seeing LeBron, like, oh shit, like Michael's here or anything. So that was fine. I'm also very confused. Like, Bugs Bunny's death was just like what was that?
Dude, I don't know. Did you notice the original aliens were in it, like in their little form?
Oh no, I did. Were they in the background, like running around?
They were like in the crowd. The camera panned to them, and they were like all four of them just standing there. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Well, that's the thing. They had the Clockwork Orange guys, which I was like, why are they in this? Like, that's insane. Those are like rapist murderers. Like, why are they in this movie? Yeah, I noticed King Kong, Pennywise. They did a good job of pulling in as much as they could. Back to the Future, though, was in this. And I was like, that's not Warner Brothers. That's Universal. So I was like, what is this?
I noticed that too, but I kind of forgot it was Universal.
Yeah. So there were a couple things I was like, huh. Overall, definitely prefer the first one. I'm sure if I watch the first one, I'm not going to be like, this is a masterpiece, but like, I can probably still appreciate it for the time. Bill Murray's hilarious in it, and Michael Jordan's like passable,
I mean, it was at least like, I don't know, it was more entertaining. Like it showed Michael growing up and how he like played like at night, constantly practicing, and it was at least an actual basketball game with real rules. This was kind of just absurd.
Yeah. The last thing too that like kind of pissed me off a little bit is the whole point of Space Jam is like taking a human and putting them in a cartoon world. They just made LeBron into a cartoon.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, I really don't know.
I mean, I get it. Maybe it was like too difficult to do it, or maybe LeBron didn't have enough time or whatever, but I'm like, that's kind of bullshit.
I think they did that because that was Algorithm's original plan, was to like have him be a cartoon. So he just like forced him to be that.
Seems convenient for the plot.
It does. What would you rate it?
I'll give this one 2. I'll give this 2 Keanus because it's not terrible. It's way too long. Way too freaking long. It's 2 hours long. You're just like, geez.
Yeah, they could slice 30 off of that.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's definitely not as good. Just watch the first one, honestly. What about you?
I guess like 1.75. I think 1.5 is a little too low, and I thought 2 was a little high. So.
Jeez. So we're going decibels. I'm excited to see how Keanu's face turns out on that.
Yeah, you can have fractional Keanu's. So
it's not the worst thing in the world. But moving right along to our final film. So this one is Fear Street Part 1, 1994, which is on Netflix currently, and it was directed by Lee Janiak, and that was released on June 28th, 2021. Also very new.
Well, I went in with extremely low expectations from the first 2. I was pretty mentally tired from just like watching terrible movies, and it was actually it surprised me because I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I kind of like the fact that there's 2 more parts, so I can kind of like see what happened in the rest of the story. What about you?
Yeah, me too. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know this is an R.L. Stine book series. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that as well until my buddy Kyle mentioned it. Kyle might be listening to this, so thank you. And I completely forgot that it was R.L. Stine.
I had no idea. Yeah, so I guess this is more like young adult, Goosebumps or whatever. But yeah, so that series came out a while ago. This is definitely R-rated though. Like they kicked it up hardcore. I'm sure this is not what R.L. Stine was writing.
No, there's a lot of blood in it. Yeah.
Very violent. But yeah, it's cool. It reminds me a lot of American Horror Story. Have you seen any of that?
I saw a couple episodes, but not really.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. Very stylized, I think. The colors and I don't know. But am I wrong or did everybody kind of seem like weird? Like every human just kind of seemed like death wasn't a big deal or like
They definitely seemed like the situation was not as grave as it actually was. Like if this was happening in real life, I would probably be like, yeah, like I'm not gonna go find these guys. Like when they were like putting blood and leading the killers there, I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing this.
yeah,
At all.
so just so I understand the plot, because this is the first movie I watched, so I'm just trying to remember a lot of it. But basically, there was like a murder that happened. Murders keep happening in this town throughout the years or whatever. And then we find out that there's like a curse or a witch put a spell on the town. And now three of the murderers from the past of this town have come back and they have to stop the witch to stop all the previous murderers from coming back, basically, right?
Yeah, so like the witch somehow used powers to make that girl throw the ice bucket on the car, which made them crash right over the witch's grave,
Hmm.
which made the girl drip blood onto the witch's bones, which gave her power to like control the killers again. So it was kind of like well orchestrated.
Mm,
And the only way to stop it was for that person to die.
okay. Yeah, I mean, they did a good job of having the kids. The charisma was good between them. I was surprised when they died. I was like, "Whoa, like this is only part one." Like, oh, but then I'm like, "Oh, okay, they're prequels or whatever." Still, I was kind of surprised, especially when like that one guy got like the axe in the head, or when that one like drug dealing cheerleader girl got killed. I was like, I was not expecting these people to get killed.
I yeah, like the cheerleading girl when she went through that, like I don't know if that was like a meat slicer of some
Oh
sort, like
yeah,
that it was like a meat tenderizer. And usually in movies like it gets like right before her face and something happens and I was just waiting. I was like, "Oh, I wonder how they're going to stop this." And then
yeah.
it just went right through her head.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty surprised too. Yeah, the gore was good. The gore actually, if you enjoy like slasher films or pretty intense gore, this definitely delivers. It's also pretty nostalgic, like seeing like AIM and stuff like that, and his Sega Genesis or I can't remember what video game system he was playing, but the music, dude, was like kind of a little much. It was like every 5 seconds a new song started.
It was definitely like they pulled out the now 90s rock soundtrack and just played like the most stereotypical songs. I thought it was funny in the beginning when the girl in the mall picked up the phone and she was like, "What? We're closed." And I was like, "Why did you pick up the phone?"
Yeah, yeah, and that's her boyfriend, right? And so he was, I guess, what he's the skull guy, but he's crazy. I don't know.
He was like possessed or something. And you know, when she was like walking back to the register, like you knew something would kind of be in the background.
Yeah.
And when I saw that person run by, I was like, "Fuck no, man." I was like, "Fuck no, dude."
Wait, did you think this was scary?
No, but I mean, like you knew someone was gonna run by, and I'm like, I'm thinking of myself in that situation, and I'm just like, man, you gotta get out of that. You gotta get out of that mall. Like the lights are off. Well, why are the lights off?
I know that security guard sucks too. Like you'd think he'd be. I mean, I guess he does kill him in the end, but still, well, we think he does. Extra.
You know what I thought was kind of odd when they were on the bus, and the bus was like driving back from the game, and they were opening the emergency hatch in the back.
Oh yeah,
Like, I expected the bus driver to be like, "What are you kids doing?" or stop or something. Like that bus driver was like, "All right, whatever."
I know. He's like, yeah, fuck those Sunnyvale kids. Like, I know. Yeah, that's the other thing. I love how it's like these two neighboring towns, and it's like West Side Story or something like that. It's just like, oh, those are the rich kids, and we're the poor kids, and
Yeah, they hate it. They hate each other.
I know they like don't even want to go to the other ones like town vigils, which seem to happen constantly. So it's like, oh, it's like, well, maybe they shouldn't be killing each other. It's like, oh my god.
Where was everybody's parents?
Yeah, where were they talk about the dad, like you're gonna end up a drunk loser like your dad. Like, well, we haven't even seen him.
Like they must have just all had like adult plans that night, and it was just up to the kids. The funniest line, I'm not sure if you caught this or not, was when the one girl called her friend and she was like, "Hey, where are you?" And she called her house landline. Like, It was right when that guy was like looking for the shirt in the couch, and she called her friend. She was like, "Oh, where are you? Like, where do you think she is? You called the
Yeah.
house."
I know, yeah. Oh, yeah. Huh, maybe that's like a mistake because you'd assume that the writers were like, oh, it's like the cell phone or whatever. But if she is
Yeah,
calling
I
her house
mean,
number, yeah.
it was literally attached to the wall, so I don't know if they did that purposely or.
Oh, maybe that's interesting. I did not pick up on that. I wonder if this needed to be a movie and they couldn't have done maybe like just take all of the three parts and make it like 20-minute episodes and do like 10 episodes or whatever. I wonder why
Um,
they went this route.
I think they went this route for a couple reasons. They could make each one like an hour 40 plus, more money. They would have, if they made them shorter, like 30 or 40 minute, like a short limited series, they would have cut out a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked it enough. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember how long it is. 107 minutes. Yeah, so that's like pretty decent length, and I know there's a second and a third one. I'm pretty excited for the second one. This movie does a good job at the end, being like, "You ready for part two?" sort of thing. And I kind of actually like how Netflix didn't just release it immediately. They did space these out over a month, so you kind of would watch one, talk about it for a week, watch another one, which is not very Netflix of them.
yeah, I didn't even notice those were like released separately, but this one was the highest rated of the three. Not
Oh,
by much, but I did find it funny at the end when the previous woman who had survived was on the phone with her, and
oh
she
yeah,
was like, "It's over, don't worry about it." She was like, "No, trust me, he's gonna get you. There's no way out of it." And I was just thinking, I was like, "Well, how did you get out of it? Like, how are you still alive? There's
yeah.
clearly a way out of it."
Well, she died, right? Because isn't that what has to happen? Like they have to die and then get resurrected to break the curse,
Yeah,
which
and
is
that's what
so
happened to
scary.
yeah, that's what happened to the Sam girl, but the woman on the phone was saying, like, even then, it's not really done,
Right. Well,
because
I
how
guess
is she still talking?
shit. So I guess like because there is no resolution here, and we know the other two are prequels, so there's gonna have to be some sort of like sequel element to the next two.
I was thinking it may have some kind of, like, final destination, like, you just kinda have to keep cheating death all the time and
Yeah, I
something like
mean,
that.
I'm excited. I mean, I really am for the next two. Of the three, this is by far my favorite for sure.
Oh, yeah. It was the
Uh,
only one that I actually enjoyed, so.
Yeah, no, for sure. This one, if you like horror movies, this is a fun one. Not gonna blow your brain off, but it's fun. I'd give this one probably three out of five Keanu's.
Okay, I'm gonna give it 3.5. I
Whoa.
liked it. I liked how it was kinda like a cheesy slasher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all of the three today. So we're gonna pick bi-weekly three new movies. Because this one's like part one, two, and three, we're gonna reserve part two. So I'll pick the two new ones right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, so it picked False Positive, which is on Hulu,
All right, false positive.
and A Classic Horror Story, which is on Netflix. So you can either watch the movies in the next 2 weeks so you can listen to our review and see if you agree, or if you don't want to waste your time, you could wait to see what we say about it.
Yeah, I'm looking these up now. I haven't heard of either of these movies. They're all horror movies.
Yeah, I like to do, I picked a couple comedy, a couple horror and
Yeah.
action, so it wasn't like just all of one genre. And well, surprisingly, it's going to be all three horror. So,
Dude, this is awesome. Actually, False Positive is an A24 film, so this is going to be
oh, there you go.
I'm very excited. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for listening in. This is our first of the Fresh Film Fridays, so we're going to keep doing these every other Friday, and we'll take the opportunity to talk more about like the future of the podcast again. We'll have guests on eventually, but this is just a little experiment for now.
Yeah.
So, Justin, thank you. Welcome to the Wheel of Horror, and we'll see everybody 2 Fridays from today with A False Positive, A Classic Horror Story, and Fear Street Part 2, 1978. And don't forget to listen in this Monday for a new episode of Wheel of Horror, and next Thursday for a new episode of Wheel of Horror Sci-Fi Summer.